Hi, thank you for joining me. Today in this video, we are going to be working on strengthening the back, the glutes, and the stomach using this fitness circle and a rolled up towel. Starting at the top of your mat, try and lower down with as much control as possible. You're going to want to cross one leg in front of the other, and as you lift your heels and bend the knees, deepen the hip fold as much as you can and try and get down to the floor with as much control as possible. Next, we're going to reach the arm overhead, both arms squeezing onto that circle. As you reach your arms over, try and pull your rib cage down. Now I noticing there the wrong way to do it, I popped the ribs. This is quite common. So try and pull the ribs down and make that more important than reaching the arms above or overhead. Next, we're going to try scapular mobilization. So because we're using the circle, it's a great opportunity to just get in touch with the movement of the scapula. As you inhale, reach the arms forward and feel the shoulder blades separate. And as you exhale, pull the shoulder blades together on your back. And then let's begin. Reaching those arms over, take a deep breath and roll up to the top of your mat. Let's take that circle and place it just under the heel. So we're going to make sure that just above the heel there, make sure that you can push down on the circle and stay balanced on it. So the first thing we're going to do before the hundreds today is connecting to the seat. If you happen to have one of these magic circles around, this is a great tool to teach you how to engage your butt, how to engage those strong glutes, without locking the knees. So often people lock their knees and use their quads and they bypass the glute altogether. You're going to inhale to push down into that circle with a soft bend in the knee. You're going to try and control that push down and control the release of that circle back to the top again. And then don't be too concerned about the breathing here. I'm inhaling as I push down and then exhaling to release. And I do find that my right side is a bit stronger than my left, so I try to start with my left side. We're going to do each leg, so we're working unilaterally here so that we get balanced on both sides rather than just doing both feet on top or both legs on top of the circle. Yeah, just keep that breath flowing, and here we go. We're going to get started with the hundreds. So press down into the circle, take a deep breath in, and on the exhale, curl forward. And as you can maintain that curl forward and the press into the circle, you're going to start pumping. Now, as you'll see here, I start bouncing around a little bit. So if you're finding that the bouncing is distracting or you can't control the bounce, then just stop the pumping of the arms. Inhale for about 5 seconds. Exhale for 5 seconds. And then after a round of 10 cycles, we will pause and then make our way back down again. If you're finding that there's tension in your neck as you hold this position here, I guess I got pretty distracted with the bouncing around. I stopped my arms. Then you can interlace your fingers and place them behind your head. All right, next, join me as we do our roll up. And for this roll up, you can do this two ways. I'm only demonstrating one way, which is holding the circle between your arms. The other option is to place the circle between your heels so that you're squeezing those inner thighs together. So maybe I'll do another video and demonstrate that version. And we do that with the rollover in a moment. But here we go. You're inhaling here. Use that exhale to roll up vertebra by vertebra. As you reach, you're trying to lengthen the spine. As I roll down, you can see there's a little bit of sliding. This has to do with the size of my glutes. But what we want to do is minimize that sliding by reaching the legs out of the pelvis. This is an important cue, because if you're not careful, you just end up rolling and there's not a lot of control, or you fall back with gravity. Try and reach the heels out of you as you roll back. And as you come up, try reaching those heels, those same legs out of you on the way up. Yeah, I start smiling when it gets a little bit hot, when it gets a little bit challenging. So do your best to stay with me. We want to do 10 of these with as much control as possible. I'm exhaling here as I come up. And then I'm preparing with another breath in and then an exhale as I come down. All right. Yeah. We are rolling through and then moving on to the next exercise. So for rollover, this one's a little tricky because you have to squeeze those inner thighs together. You want to really press down into the arms without locking the elbows. Check out my previous video where I demonstrate the rollover prep. And the prep is a great way to connect to that upper body and create a real connection into that back line, which we want. In fact, it's more important to keep those arms pressed back and the shoulders rolled back than on taking the legs over. But I've added the bit of footwork here, so you can see now I'm reaching the heels on the way over and then pointing the feet on the way down. This opens up those hamstrings and just adds a little bit more a challenge. And then once we've done 6 rollovers, then we make it all the way back down, trying to keep that circle between the knees, between the legs. All right, so let's come up to the top here, or let's bring that circle up to the top for the one leg circle. This is the hardest way to do one leg circle. I quite like it having my hands on the mat because I can stabilize my upper body better. So taking those arms off the mat and into the air here while squeezing the circle makes it so much harder to keep the ribs pulled in. It makes it so much harder to stay square and connected to the mat. So we're doing 5 circles. We're crossing over and circling from the seat. So try and remember what it felt like to squeeze your bum and engage the glutes when we had that circle under the heel. As you whip that leg around, you're stabilizing as best you can. 5 circles across, and then you reverse the direction. All right, here we go. Let's continue on with rolling like a ball. We're holding that circle in front and trying to maintain the distance between the heels and the seat all the way through. So we're not flicking those legs to come back up. We're trying to keep that circle steady and symmetrical and the same throughout. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, you can try this version. So by placing the circle behind the heel and wedging it just behind the thighs, now you're forced to maintain that shape all the way through, even when you fall back and when you come forward. All right, let's continue with the stomach series. So for that single leg pull, here I am again, just holding that circle above. Another way to do this is to take the circle behind the head, just at the base of the skull, and that supports your upper ab curl. Just make sure you're not pushing the head forward, but rather supporting the weight of it. Okay, that is another variation. Let's continue here. I'm going to take that circle above the head. Now, if you like to have that circle behind your head supporting you, you can keep it and just do the legs. Otherwise, let's reach the arms and the legs and hold. And then exhale to pull it in. Inhale, reach and hold. Exhale, pull it in. And then I think I make a little mistake here. I go right to the lower and lift. But really what we should do is our single leg pull, single straight leg pull. So try and squeeze your butt and lower the legs while maintaining that upper ab curl. You can modify this by bending the knees and lowering and lifting the legs. Otherwise, let's inhale here, exhale to pick up the legs. Stay with me. Yeah, it's tough, but we're almost done. If you feel your neck, remember you can always place that circle behind your head to support. And then we go to elbow to knee. So we're going to twist. Try and touch that elbow to the knee and twist, breathing when you can. Twist and smile if you can, even though this is killer, wringing out that stomach. And here we are for a stretch now. Yeah, that is a hard little series. That stomach series is always so priceless. Okay, for spine stretch forward, we're going to place that ring, that magic circle just between the calves. You're reaching your heels forward and you're pressing down through the triceps to feel the back. You're going to exhale as you squeeze down. You can also inhale as you squeeze down, but the point is that you're feeling the stomach scooping in. You're feeling your abs contract and that corseting effect around the spine as you flex forward. All right, let's take this onto the mat, onto your stomach. We're going to turn over, and I'm going to use this beautiful mat here because I've got it. If you've got one as well, then you'll know what I mean because you've got the handles on either side. If you don't have the handles on either side, you're still going to try and pull back through the hands. So your hands would be flat. Bear with me here as I adjust this mat. But yeah, we're going to pull back to take the chest forward. And even before we do that, you want to make sure that your pelvis is pressed into the floor. So you're going to wrap that pelvis back so that you can really isolate and try and work into the upper thoracic. So here's the demo with the hands down. My elbows are in the air and I'm pulling back to get the sensation of moving forward. So if that doesn't really make much sense, let's grab the towel and let's place it under the hips. And I'm going to demonstrate how to set up the hips so that you feel a deeper connection to that upper back. Now, most of us, especially women, we tend to have tighter quads and a habit of an anterior tilt, sometimes because of the tighter quads. So with that towel just under the hip bones, try and wrap the pelvis around the towel. What this does is it elongates the sacrum, it lengthens the sacrum, and mitigates that compression in the lower back. And then try and pull back through the hands, either with your hands under the shoulders or on that dowel. Here I am demoing again. You don't want your bum in the air. You want to wrap the pelvis around the towel. So moving down to just that leg work and that hip work, try and keep the pelvis wrapped around the towel as you lift one leg at a time. Now, as you lift the leg, don't lose contact with the towel. In other words, don't lose the shape, that curled shape, that press of the pubic bone down. Don't lose it as you lift your leg. Breathe whenever you can. There is no wrong way to breathe. Just breathe whenever you can. Breathe for length and breathe to wrap the hip around the towel. Breathe for that lengthening of the sacrum. You're trying to keep your lower back as long as possible. Okay, so that's how we set up the hips, always how we set up the hips when we're on our stomach. And now we're going to set up the thoracic extension. So you still want to keep those hips wrapped around what was the towel. So you want to imagine the towel is still there. You're still pressing your pubic bone into the mat. But now we've got the towel under the rib cage to assist with the extension. Okay, so feel free to play around with the location of the towel. You can have it just underneath the chest, like at the top of the ribs, or right across the chest there. But what we want to do is make sure that you're not pushing into your lower back. And now from here, let's take those arms into a T, and we're going to rotate the arms with that extension. So we're going to use that prop, that towel, to make sure that you can keep the chest lifted. You want to keep that pelvis rotated posteriorly, so your pubic bone is down, which means your lower back is nice and long. And then we start to open the chest by rotating the arms. In this case, we're using that cactus shape, so the elbows can be bent as you pick up the palms and then lower the palms, or drop the elbow and then drop the hands. And then lifting, keeping that cactus shape lifted, we're going to reach the arms and then bend them back in again. And inhale here to reach. Exhale maybe to pull down and feel those shoulders gliding on the rib cage. And then coming down for a rest and then into a child's pose. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.